welcome. Thank you very much for joining this call and this interview session. Over the next 25 to 30 minutes, we will have a conversation around how not only the industry is evolving, but what are the key initiatives being taken by you and you as a veteran in the industry? You have been at the forefront of this digital transformation, which is now getting across the industries. According to you, what are the key trends which you see in 2025 that are shaping the future of customer experience across insurance industry?
I think it's a good question to start off with, because crystal ball gazing is is something which always perks up our interest. So one thing which we all have been reading about is how new age technologies such as Gen AI have taken the world by storm, and insurance is no different. So if I were to start by saying if I gaze into the future, what do I see happening? What could possibly happen is, today if you look at customer service, human agents are serving human customers. Tomorrow you might have a
Right.
situation where, and we are moving towards bots, as in machines serving human customers. There's a possibility tomorrow that the bot is serving another bot, because the customer may not have the time, right? So he may outsource his grievance management to a bot. So the bot is interacting with us, and at our end, there is a bot, which is speaking to that bot. So you might have, you might very well have, a machine to machine interaction. So I think that's one thing, which you can see, in customer service going forward. The other is, the point that you made about, how do insurers adapt themselves? And that's where, if you look at not only insurance players, but if you look at across industries, what is very important is for people to have not a know-it-all attitude, but a learn-it-all attitude. It's very important to understand that, there are points of inflection. Customer expectations are changing. The way of doing business is different. And therefore, you need to go with the tide and, adapt accordingly. And one thing which firms can do is, if you look at the insurance value chain, and I'll explain this with an example. If you look at motor claims, a lot of people historically, when they crash their car, they would have had to call up the insurer. The insurer, would then find a surveyor. A surveyor may not be there at the site of the crash,
Right.
because the site may be anywhere, right? Maybe very far away from the city. Then he comes to the site, he will examine the cause of the crash, he will submit his report, and then the whole process can take a lot of days. So we dramatically, reduce the turnaround time on this by introducing what we call on-the-spot settlement, whereby if a customer had a car crash, unfortunately, he did not have to call a surveyor. He could take photographs of the damaged car and upload them himself using the mobile app. So just two steps, and and our AI engine at the back end, which has been taught using our years of expertise, will quickly examine the images and convey the amount to the customer. The customer gives us consent and the money is paid. And this would happen in less than 20 minutes up to certain amounts. So what could take days, could take 20 minutes. Now, we did this by tying up with a startup for that particular part of the value chain.
This is a great example because you are not only doing away with a lot of people in this whole chain of settlement, but you are also doing away with any manipulation done at the workshop level also. So the money comes directly to the person. So I think this is
Right.
a great innovation, and especially areas like insurance, and especially at the time of claim settlement. While certain things will be great, like the example you have mentioned, maybe in the health insurance sector there will be more need of more empathy and probably empathy engines need to be built. Are you thinking of those areas, or is there a thought on how to bring empathetic AI or bringing a combination of human plus AI together to enhance emotional quotient as well when there is a discussion happening at that level?
Firstly, when it comes to health insurance, in general insurance, that is one area where you end up insuring the human being. Because if you look at motor insurance, you insure the asset. Or if you look at
Right.
home insurance, you again insure an asset. So therefore, when it comes to ensuring human beings, it's not only about being digitally savvy, but also about bringing in empathy. Because when customers come to you, they need empathy, right? They are not going to call you during good times. Typically, customers call you when they are in trouble. So one nation of man and machine, and to exactly to the point that you asked, where we launched a concept called Care Angel. So what happens here is, we figured out a lot of our hospitals which have high footfalls from our customers, and then we found that when customers go there, there are typically two worries that they have. One worry is navigating this complex administrative landscape in hospitals, because they need to go to
Right.
multiple departments for testing. They again need to go to various departments for bills, and they need to curate the whole experience. And the other, of course, the primary reason why you go, which is to move from illness to wellness. So we said, is there a way, we can service the customer by giving him empathy? So we had a dedicated care angel. Care angel is a relationship manager. So what the relationship manager does is he takes care of the entire processing digitally because he has a device through which he helps the customer navigate. Yet he is there at the hospital, to provide empathy. And we also, scaled up this model by also having virtual care angels. So there are hospitals where there are physical care angels, and there are hospitals we service through virtual care angels. And customers just loved it because they had to then only focus on moving from illness to wellness. So that just
Wonderful.
explains, how a combination of man and machine
Wonderful.
can be very powerful.
What is the role and how do you approach as a leader towards the decision making so that you ensure that while we are bringing in technology, while we are bringing in revolution, the center point continues to remain delivering superior customer experience for my customer, irrespective of where they are and where they come from.
And then just deploying solutions which may not make sense to the customer. So to the point of how do we decide, we follow a 5-step process. So the first step, and it might sound like a cliche, is to basically understand customer needs. Typically we find a lot of firms miss this step because they do think they have a lot of customer data, and therefore they know what the customer wants. But we all know about a very famous customer centric organization where their practice is when they are in meetings, they keep a chair empty because they say that that chair represents the customer. So what we do is first we go out and figure out customer needs. That's the first aspect. Like I said, it's a cliche, but it's very important. The second thing, and I think that is what helps us get a winning edge, is even when you go to customers, customers articulate their needs, which obviously are stated needs. But we've also figured out that when we interact with customers, and if we read between the lines, we can also figure out customers' unstated needs.
Right.
And that's very important because the future always gives you weak signals. The future doesn't give you strong signals. So if you figure out customer stated needs, and unstated needs, it puts you in a position to give a superior customer experience. So that is the second step. The third step, before you digitize is you cannot put, like they say, good money behind bad problems, or you cannot use a digital tool to fix a broken process. So the third step is to basically take an inventory of, the whole landscape, right? Figure out the whole process landscape. And then the fourth step is to re-engineer it. It's only when you re-engineer it, and you are able to streamline the process. So we do these 4 steps, and only then we come in with a digital solution. That is the fifth step. So to your point on decision, because we follow this 5-step process stringently, by the time we come to the fifth step, the decision making becomes a very easy process
Right.
because you are moving from impulsive or gut driven decision making to a process driven decision making. Do we know the customer needs? Have we re-engineered the process? And have we got it in the right shape for us to deploy the tool? And then when we do that, it takes off. So I think this 5-step process we follow to take decisions. And then because of that, we are able to, get the act right more often than not. And that's why we've been able to scale up our transformation and innovation.
Right. Right. No, no, excellent. Excellent. You have been a leader in the industry and a huge, extensive career and experience around that. What are some key lessons or experience that you would like to share, uh, especially that have helped you shape the business transformation uh, in the industry?
Okay. Again, I think, like I've been stating, I think all very relevant questions, right? And especially, a lot of youngsters, keep asking this, in various forums.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, Mrudul, I think, one of the first, things, because you spoke about what are some of the experiences, which have, helped us, shape transformation and innovation. I think one of the first things which we did is we do not have, a segregated, innovation team, which does not run the setup. Because then what happens is, they don't have the skin in the game. So the team which runs the setup, the team which is basically handling the whole business day to day, right? Because we have millions of customers and thousands of partners. This team is, tasked with transformation. So the learning there is, ownership. Because if the team which is running the setup, is not able to transform or innovate, then they're not able to make their own life simpler because volumes are increasing every year. So only when you digitize and when you innovate are you able to come out with new solutions from time to time. And over the years, we've seen this model work. So I think having that ownership mindset, I think is very, very important, and which comes, I think that's one lesson we want youngsters to imbibe. So I think that learning agility, I think, is of paramount importance. I think that is the second lesson, and that really helped us transform and innovate because uh, you tried a lot of ideas, some of them succeed, Some of them don't, and we all have learned, right? Fail fast. You do a trial and error, and
Right.
then you quickly, learn to redeploy. So I think, that's something which helps. The third thing, from a pragmatic perspective, what works is do not look for perfection, because by the time you try to be perfect, it's already too late. So normally, what we do is we come out with a minimum viable product, which again is based on what customers give us. And as you deploy, it has to be viable. You cannot come out with an unfinished product, but it has to have minimum viability. And when you
Right.
test it out, your customers give you feedback. And then, you keep on,
Modifying.
revamping it, improvising it, and then go to market. To give an example, when we launched our AI-driven chatbot initially, we launched it for our top 7 services. And then along the way, we added more services and we added more languages. And
Right.
during COVID, initially we even had a human to assist in case the bot couldn't answer all the queries. And then we kept on teaching the bot. So today our bot can speak in multiple languages, can handle many more services, and also its own autonomy level is higher. But this wouldn't have happened had we waited for perfection. We launched the initial version many years ago and kept learning. So I think if I look at these three cornerstones, I think your transformation program can be far more effective.
Right, right, right. No, I think that is also one important thing, and one thing which possibly is that suddenly comes to my mind is, especially in your sector, how are you trying to manage the DPDP piece, because that is going to be a reality soon, and with a lot of data privacy issues coupling with hyper personalization, maybe that is a discussion for some next time. But those are the emerging things which are coming up, and great. Lovely speaking to you, and it's a pleasure and interacting and understanding and getting some new mantras like know it all to learn it all, and enjoying having a conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mridal. Likewise, I think you moderated the entire session very well. So it was a pleasure for me as well. Interacting with you and sharing my thoughts.
Thank you so much. Thank you.